and the profile picture is not sizing correctly.
Okay.
And
are you saying it doesn't upload it, or just doesn't upload it at all, or what?
No, it uploads it, but then it displays, cutting off the image. And what I noticed is that I actually took someone's logo and I put it in Photoshop and I put white space in it, so the actual logo is shrinked in a little bit in it, even though it was like I don't know what the exact dimensions are supposed to be, but I don't know if there's a way of finding out the exact dimensions that will fit a logo in there.
Yeah. So let's go into that real quick. And what you're asking, and I'm just going to show you guys. There is in case we've gone on this in another webinar before, but we'll go over it again here real quick. There is inside of your developers category, there is a image settings setup. And so in here, there's basically the default sizings for your the different image upload schemes on the website. So you'll notice on the left-hand side here, there's profile photo, profile logo, and then the profile cover. And the profile, I'll log into a demo one real quick here, and I think I'm logged in as myself, so these will all be available. Yeah, so let me go in and show you what those look like, just to kind of show you which three those things are when it says profile, logo, and the profile. When you go into the profile photo tab or button, there's going to be three options if you turn them all on. This is actually a great demo. I'm going to show you how to turn these on if you only see one. So I have the profile photo, and you'll notice the profile photo is just that it's geared for a photo. So if you're thinking of a yearbook photo, it's more of the 3/4 vertical look. It's not square. It's kind of like the yearbook photo. So you notice I only have the profile photo. There's two others, a profile logo and profile cover that are available. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on right now. You're going to go to Finance and Membership Plans. And this is just to show you how to turn these on if for some reason you want to edit those at a later point. So if you notice, I'm in the website administrator category. So because I'm not really a live profile, I didn't turn those on. But if you did, you want to go to Edit in any membership feature. And there's going to be three different types of photos that you can turn on. So in your profile tab, you're going to see you can control the tabs, but then it also has the photos down here. And I have the profile photo upload turned on, and lo and behold, the other ones were no. And that's why they weren't showing up. So if you want all three, you can turn these on. And these are things that you can add on at different levels to enhance them to, let's say you didn't want them to have your logo if it's free, but you want them to pay. If it's a paid membership, they get to put their logo on there. Or if, and this is the big one across the top of the page, if you wanted to have that at a higher plan, you can turn that on for other plans. But I'm going to turn both those on for the purposes of this demo. And it says price is required for paid. This is a free one because it's admin and nobody else is going on there. I found it funny that BD actually put on part of the default there, the admins was like a default $10,000 cost. Like somebody's gonna pay $10,000 to be an admin. I don't know when they added that in the template, but I thought that was pretty funny. So anyway, so now those three are turned on, and then the profile logo. So this is more of the obviously the icon or logo for the website, and that's normally set at a 200 by 200, a square kind of setting. And then the profile cover is 1140 by 200 pixels, and that is basically a big banner ad like you would see on LinkedIn or something like that. That's at the top of your profile that you can edit. So now you notice these all have different dimensions. Now these are the recommended sizes, but if you go into that image thing, now this is those three options: the profile photo, the profile logo, and the profile cover, and you can set the different ratios on that. So the social media, you can edit to, and actually I'm not sure why that, there's normally a pull down for 3:4 or a 1:1 on that. I think probably because I've adapted it already. And so the bottom line is you can change the max width and height on these. And there's some limitations on how big they can go internal and the back end. It'll let you know if it's too big. We talked about the the social post size before, not being able to put it like in as large as you would want to for Facebook right now, for this photo post large kind of thing. So, and the social media, but this is where you can change the dimensions. So sometimes when you're saying, hey, it's not cropping correctly, is just because it's not set up to accept a particular size. Either you have the max width or max height too big or too small, or you have this ratio change and it just doesn't match what you're actually trying to do. So you notice right here, I kind of have that set as a 3x4. So now if I go to change the photo, let's say I want to use the webinar picture for today. It's going to upload that, and it'll do a couple things. If it's too small, it'll warn you, because sometimes you can have that minimum size, and if you set the minimum size larger than somebody's uploading, it's going to flag that and not let them upload. And then it's going to have a default of a specific aspect ratio that you put in there as well. So you notice I had that as 3:4. So my image is basically bigger than they're going to allot for that particular area. And I can drag it over, let's say that image resources, but I want that full word in there. So I'm going to drag the corner, and now I can cover that up. Now, as soon as I hit a bottom wall there, it's going to stop. Like it won't get any bigger, but it will allow me, if I drag on the side, to do it from the center. But you notice it's going to keep that aspect ratio the whole time. And so when whatever is kind of highlighted should be the portion that's uploaded. So if I upload that now, I'm going to crop and upload that. It's going to basically just crop that picture and upload it in that particular aspect in that. And that's what I should see on the front end when I'm done, as soon as it closes out. And so there's the portion that I had highlighted. Now, so there's just a couple aspects, some considerations to do that. Now, Kyle, are you saying that when you do the highlight portion or whatever, what you thought was supposed to be there is not, or what exactly are you seeing? Did that solve or answer potentially any questions, or are you getting something that's not standard?
No, I think it was Jamie.
Oh, it was Jamie. Sorry.
Yeah, it's Jamie.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So what's strange is I'm looking at the back end right now, and it says ratios 1:1 for profile photo.
Okay. And that's a change, because normally that's default 3:4. So okay,
I didn't touch it though, so I don't know how it.
Well, maybe different templates are set up different. I'm not sure. It normally is a 3:4, but that doesn't matter. You can change it to 3:4.
And another, what I noticed, and I can't remember what I did on the profile cover.
Yep.
That no matter what they upload, it could be like a giant picture. It'll display. I don't know, like you can see some of them have like almost like a postcard. It doesn't crop it to like the like a banner. Mine says open on the profile cover. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I've had issues with this one a little bit as well, because you notice you could have.
I don't have that when they upload theirs. It doesn't have the border box to
the blue one.
Yeah, that right there that you're moving.
Okay. Well, make sure this is set up to be large. Is yours profile cover? How big? What's your settings at?
1140 by 200.
That's the same. And then when you upload the image, you don't get this little section thing.
No, I did it. No, because I did it somebody yesterday that was having problems. They're not as technical. So I uploaded it, and then I was trying to get their logo to size correctly. Even I went to Photoshop, but then I had to add like it's just their business logo, not the profile photo.
Well, it should have that. So I've seen that a couple times where something's not set up right, or I don't know. Just send in a support ticket to BD, and they can reset that for you. But this is what, for everybody, this is what it should look like. So that's the kind of the banner dimensions that I have set up in there. And then so it'll basically by name in my torso there. If I did this one and upload that one, and it'll crop it to whatever you're seeing there. and then that's your profile image, and so that looks exactly like you would expect. And then just to show everybody what that looks like again on the profile. So this is now that full width profile cover at the top, and then I've got my my image here. And what I'll throw out and here today is it's going to show. You notice it has that one on there, vice the logo. That's because I have it set up as a personal listing, and what I mean by that is for contact details. If you have in the company or personal or individual, depending on what you have set on here, will determine which one ends up showing up on the website here. So if I had it as company, if I uploaded a logo there, it would use that one instead of the personal. If you put personal, it'll put that profile cover. There's
no way of it hiding like if you put company, hiding the actual upload for the profile picture, because people ask me, because they think they have to upload both. They're a company, so they're actually putting a profile photo and a logo.
So what I would do is if this is a company profile, and this is a membership type that's just company, then I would
update the membership.
Well, yeah, you would just update the membership where that membership level does not have the ability to upload the profile photo. It's just the profile logo only.
Okay.
And then that was kind of what I showed you at the beginning, where I only had the profile. I only had the profile photo. That would be the opposite, where you just remove that, and then they only have the ability to upload the profile logo.
Then, if for some reason they change it to individual, it won't have anything showing, right?
No, it will. It'll just have the logo. It's just that changes the internal logic of normally what's posted here. But you notice I have company, and because I don't have a company logo and I have the profile photo, it adds that in there for me. But
okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that actually may be an update. I don't know if it used to do that or not.
It defaults to whatever's there.
Yeah, looks like that they changed that, but yeah. So normally, or it used to, if it's individual, it shows the profile. If it's a company, it shows the logo. But I did have that as a company. So let's just test that out right now. So I had it in contact details as a company, right? And then I don't have my company logo in there because I just had the profile. So I'm going to go ahead and upload a logo here real quick. And let's say I'm that company, which I'm not, but that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'll add that in there. So now that's going to crop it as I think it'll add it as a 200 by 200 or no, it's going to do the full width. So this is just another example for you guys. If you have a 200 by 200, if it's a 200 tall, it's going to crop it to 200 tall, and then there's going to be white, or it's not going to be square because it kind of cut off the sides. Same thing if it's 200 wide and I don't have a 200 high, it's going to crop it and it's basically smaller. So one thing you want to think about in terms of your sizing there for your listings is that you may want to enforce some standardization with that to make sure that they're 200 by 200, and I'll show you why here in a second. But let me.
It says minimum. Can you can change that to maximum? Would that be better for because?
No, because it's going to resize it anyway, right? Even if you have the maximum to 600 by 600, it's still going to shrink it down. It's only going to show it in that spot.
No, I realize that, but the verbiage on that says minimum. So if you're thinking,
right, that's the way it's set up. It's set up as a minute. I do say it's max. Well, I do. I put that on mine. I'm sorry. I think I may have edited that on mine because I want them to have 200 by 200.
Mine says minimum.
Oh, yours says that too?
Yeah, minimum both. And then the profile is recommended size. It seems a little weird because if you think it's minimum, then if you put like a 1,000 by 1,000 pixel image in there, is it going to shrink it automatically to 200 by 200?
Yes, it will.
So that's where I was having, I think, issues with it.
Okay. But the reason they have it on there, I think it was for social media. It wanted it 200 by 200. Some of these things have changed with the image sizing. I think they originally did this when, the pixels were a little bit smaller, but it is confusing. I guess it says max height and max width because it will accept smaller than that. So I don't know if that's a typo either, or maybe that is the max. No, because you can upload larger ones. So I agree that it's confusing. It is minimum though. It will, I think, prompt if it's smaller than that and not allow you to upload
it does. It definitely prompts smaller, but
yeah,
if it's giant.
But bottom line, it does crop it in there. You see it adds it in there, it crops it in there, and then it crops it into that spot. So it is that particular spot. Let me show you why I do it for mine. This is my local directory for here in Michigan for Hudsonville.com. I just want to show you. I'm not going to call anybody else's that has varied images on it or whatever, just to show you, I guess, how it shouldn't look. But this is why I do it for me for the 200 by 200. I don't let anybody put a smaller image that's not square, that's not 200 by 200. And if they do, I just redo it for them and let them know. And that's kind of my interaction thing with them locally, is I let them know that I just kind of resized it for formatting for the website. And nobody's ever had a problem with that. But it kind of gives me an extra touch point. But you see how when they're all uniform and they all look the same, it just looks a lot better.
No, I love that. It looks good
in the directory. It's because what ends up happening is if you have some that don't have a weird background color, some are small, tall, some are squatty, and it just looks all over the place, and it just doesn't look professional. And that's what we're talking about today, really, is imagery and why it's important to your directory and why you want it to look good. And this is just one of those factors that I think makes the directories look much better, and that's what I advise all my clients to do. So
one last question. So on the profile photo, what should the ratio be set to? 3 to 4?
Well, I mean, the profile photo doesn't matter necessarily unless you're intermingling profile photos and images, and then I'd probably put it at a 1-to-1 again.
Sorry, not the profile photo, but the logo. The logo says open.
Yeah, it is open. See, you know what? They must have changed this because I could have swore this used to say 1-to-1 here. Maybe because people were questioning why it had to be 1-to-1, perhaps. But I think this is where you yeah, well, to be honest, well, no, because that was there's no overlay on that one, so I think it was just uploading whatever I put in there. I don't know, to be honest. I think this has changed. I don't have a good answer for you on that one because it used to be different there, I thought. And I'm wondering why this doesn't have a pull down. Does yours have a pull down?
No. Just the top one. I have one. Mine says 1-to-1 on both.
Oh, it does. Well, that's weird. Okay. Yeah, they must
down on.
I didn't see the toggle drop down. That's weird. So yeah, so you can change it 1-to-1 or 3-to-4. There you go. For that one.
Should they be 3-to-4 or 1-to-1?
Well, again, it doesn't. It's up to you. It's the presentation. Like for example,
right.
If you wanted it taller, or you could do either or. For that one, the profile view, you could maybe have the logo square, but still allow the profile images to be centered here with the the 3-to-4 ratio. So it's
so having it square like that, is that 3-to-4 or 1-to-1?
This is 1-to-1. It's a square.
Okay. Because 3-to-4 would be a rectangle, right? Yeah.
Right.
All right. Interesting.
And I'm not sure why it's not showing my. Are you guys seeing the edge of the squares cut off here on yours?
Cut off?
On the share? Are you guys? Is it cut off for you guys at all, or do you see the full square?
I see a square.
Okay. All right. Okay. I guess it just cuts off the preview on my presentation screen here. So just want to make sure you guys can fully see it. All right. So any questions on that one? But that one, that's kind of how that is set up, and hopefully that if you guys can troubleshoot that a little bit on your end on how you're setting that up for sizing or whatever. So good question.
Yeah, it was just weird that the profile cover photo uploads whatever size they put. But, okay. Yeah, I don't have that like cut off thing. I'll put a ticket in.
Okay. Yeah, because that should work for everybody. All right, Mike, welcome on board. I think you were in there a second ago. Feel free to jump in on audio or video if we ever get to that, whenever you want. Any other? Okay. Anybody else have any image questions or any other BD questions in general?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I had a question. I put a ticket in and they said, I have, is there a way to move items into folders and back out of folders into other folders?
In terms of what? Images?
Like, yeah, because I have, folders and I just can't figure out how to get them from one folder to the other.
So you're talking the media managers, content media manager, I think is what you're talking about. And you have stuff in folders and you're trying to move them?
Yeah.
So the answer is no. You can't just readily move that. So you notice here you can drag and drop it. It doesn't do anything. Yeah. I don't know why it's set like so. It's not a drag and drop. It's kind of I don't know. It's not very. It looks like you're going to be able to do something you're not. So you notice you can preview, you can download it, you can rename it, or you can erase it. You notice you don't have a move button. So this is just kind of I guess more of a visual depiction and a drag and drop loader than an actual file folder, unfortunately. So if you go in the, so let's go to my demo folder here. If you have images in here as well, again, you can't drag it back up a folder. You can see a list view, but then you have the same operations as you have before with the other one. And you can create new folders, but you can't actually, move them around. So the answer is no, not in here. You cannot do that. So the only way that you can do that is you have to go into your Cpanel Dashboard. And so to show that again for everybody, developers and Cpanel Dashboard. And if you guys have never been in here before, this is kind of your back end, everything for your website. It's got all your databases, your email stuff, secure socket layer stuff, if you're doing any cron jobs or any automated stuff, and all the back end stuff, all right, for your website. Now in here, there is a file manager button. And if you click on that, now this is kind of your file manager thing where you want to do all your stuff. So be careful about this because this is your entire website. You start deleting or move stuff in here, your website could stop working. So use it as a caution.
Where are the pictures held?
Yeah, I'm going to show you that in a second. So I just wanted to throw that caveat out there to be very careful. So go to public HTML, just double click on the little earth icon. And then in there is the images folder right here. So if you double click the images folder, now here's all the stuff we just showed earlier, demo categories or products. So now if I want to move my Apple Touch icon, I just click on it and then you can move it and then you can put it into whatever file structure you want. Now it's not exactly drag and drop on that one. You kind of have to put which subfolder or whatever. And I don't know if it'll actually move anything. Let me try to find something I don't mind moving. Hold on a sec. Circus PNG. What is that? Stand by. Actually, image 5. I'm going to do that one. All right. So image 5. I'm going to drag and drop that thing, hopefully. Let's see if that works. No. See, this is what I'm saying. I don't even know if I can drag or drop in here. I'll just do this one, put that in.
Cut and paste?
Okay, so that worked. Copy.
I see.
Files. So you can right click and copy. You can rename, move. That just does that again. Well, that's not a copy and paste necessarily. It's a copy. So anyway, you get the point. You can do a little bit more here than you could on the other one, right? So the drag and drop does work. You can upload other stuff in mass here as well. And it uploads where you want. If you go up one level, so that's back in there because I copied it in there. Drag and drop works, but again, that copy is not like a copy and paste. So you have to actually type the folder in there. again.
Because what was strange was I was trying to update my about us, or I call it something different, but the about us page. I was
Right.
trying to change the photos on the page, and it wasn't bringing up the folders, so I couldn't even go into the folders. It only brought up like
Okay.
the root,
Yeah, that's
the root
good.
directory.
Yep. So, and again, hopefully they'll update this in a little bit. If you're doing that, there's two caveats for making items. So let me log in here, and I'm going to show you what he's talking about. So I'm gonna edit, or else make a new one for the demo here. I'm just going to make a new. Let's just say article. So in there, there is in the what you see is what you get, or the Crello editor that's on here. There is a little image icon, so it says insert image, and when it pops up, there you can either add by a URL, or you can upload an image, and you can either drag. However, if you click it, actually no, that's that. Sorry, actually, I'm trying to think where that normally. Oh, I'm gonna have to think about this one, because it normally, I'm trying to think where that shows up at, because it has where you can actually insert the image from the item. So that's the normal one. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, go onto the page. You want to go to like
yeah, maybe it's just on the editor, right, or on the back end.
The back end web. Yeah, go to the back end web.
So I was making a web page. Yeah, I thought that was on there because sometimes it is for blog type stuff. And I was going to say, I was going to throw that out there. In fact, I'm gonna go back. I also want to do a blog articles I want to see, because this is normally for admin only. You're only going to see that option if you have admin access. Obviously, you do if you're on the back end, but sometimes it does show up for admin only type of content. Let me double check this one, and maybe it won't, but yep, it does. So now, because this is a admin only type of post for blogs, and I have it set as admin only, basically, there are now three options. You can drag and drop, you can link it, or it has the browse button. And so this is the exact same thing that you'd see on the back end for adding stuff for a web page editor, but it's also available on the front end if you're doing a blog and logged in as admin. So it basically says browse, but what he was talking about is it does not load the folders. So as of right now, and I think they were going to edit this, but in the coming weeks, but it only allows you to pull images from the top category. So anything in these folders you don't have access to. You notice it just pulled up all these images. And so if there's something that you're going to want to upload or going to need to add to a blog or a web page, unless you're going to you just want to do it directly through that method, it has to be in the top level folder. The other way around that is add it in here first, just add it into the folder. And then when you go into those categories, just right click on the image and copy the URL. It's going to come up with a pop-up, and just copy that URL. Now it's inside that folder, and then use that link, the other link version, where you just insert the link to the picture, and then it will load that from that back location. So that's the way around that.
Yeah, I figured that, or put everything in the root.
Yeah, you can. Again, I don't recommend doing that. It just gets hard to find stuff. That's one of the reasons. There's some things in here that are less than ideal. For example, the web pages. There's no folders for web pages, and what ends up happening is if you get a bunch of web pages, you can't find anything after a while, because there's like 70. You got 70 pages on here, and you can't figure out where that is. And it's the same thing for images. When you have, and the other thing too, it takes longer to load every time too. So if you have 70 photos in there, they made it a little bit easier. It used to load all of the images at first, but then they cut it to 25 images at a time, and then you can say load all or load more, because it used to kind of stall here because people were doing that, and it was loading all of them at one time, and it took forever because it was loading all the images. Okay, but that's a great question. So that revealed some stuff maybe some other people didn't know about. Let me throw out. We're gonna talk a little bit later in the presentation, and since we're on the BD director here, I'm just gonna throw this out here while we're in here right now. But one of the things that's important on the directories when you're doing that is to reduce the bandwidth. Obviously, there's limited bandwidth. If you got the VIPs, it's doubled, but it's still limited depending on how much your traffic you have. And if for some reason you're hitting your traffic, you can always get additional traffic or additional storage for your website, and you can continually stack those on, or they'll ask you to upgrade. Or if you're a huge website, you can get your own server with your own BD stuff on it. But just something that normally eats up the bandwidth a lot is people uploading images that are either not compressed or not as small as they should be. And the biggest bandwidth eaters usually are, and I don't have an image on mine, so it's not a good example, but everybody's seen it where you have the big picture right in the background here. It's sliding through. That loads every time somebody loads your web page. So if that's a really huge file, you're scrolling through a bunch of those and it's not compressed, and you got that full resolution, that gets downloaded every time somebody visits your homepage. So it also delays your load time, potentially reducing your SEO stuff as well. So you always want to have that compressed. And then one of the other things that usually people don't think about is these images, the category images, or the other images that you upload for your actual profile. Those can be eating stuff up as well. And so one thing I always like to tell everybody to check is these sub-level categories, because and top level, especially if they're using the streaming category stuff on their homepage. Because what happens is it says recommended 263 to 225. A lot of times people don't really look at that and just kind of upload a full image. And so what happens if I click change image, I can upload that full resolution, 3000 by 1500 or whatever image. And what ends up happening when I do that is it uploads that entire image. And so when it loads on your site, it loads that entire image and then just shrinks it down into that small area. It's not like a smaller compressed thing that gets dynamically thrown out onto the website, which a lot of people don't realize. So what happens is if you have 16 of these little photos here, if you upload all these at 2,000, 3,000, these are all like 7 megabytes large because you uploaded the full image. It's downloading 80 megabytes of pictures every time somebody loads your homepage. It slows it down. And again, every time somebody loads your webpage, it's eating 80 megabytes of storage. So what I always tell people is double check here. You can right click on the image and just go copy the image address, and just go make sure that, so this one, is a good size. It's not too huge. I recommend something probably larger than they recommend, only because this, I think, was a good pixel amount for if you have 4 wide. Like I've got 4 wide, but they now turned it in so you can have those, 2 wide and have them like that big, like the size of 4 of these. And when you do, if it's 200 pixels, it's actually going to look pixelated because it's actually going to expand it out to fill that thing, and it's not going to look good. So if for some reason you want to have it that full width or all, size of 4 of those because you're doing 2 wide, this is probably a good size because it's a little bit larger and it's going to shrink it down and kind of make it look a little bit more high res and not fuzzy, depending on the size of monitor and how wide it is across. And that is I forget what the size of that is. I'll have to go look in a second. So 650 by 437 is what I'm using for that one. Again, you don't have to use those exact dimensions. But that's what I'm using. So just make sure it's not too large, and then make sure it's compressed, and then make sure you upload those. So I'd always do that first, and then upload that particular image. Now you notice it doesn't have an option in here to upload a link or something. You literally have to upload from that upload piece there. So. But it does have the folders on that one. Now, I don't know why it does on that one, but it does on the other one. So one of the other things I always recommend, my tip and trick on this is I would always add my category images to a categories folder. And again, just kind of cleans that up a little bit more. And then here's all of the categories. I just put them in here, and you could do subcategories and folders as well. Just kind of cleans it up a little bit. And this one does have the folder selection with that. So if you do put it in folders, it is easier to find. So is there any questions on that, or just something that anybody? So go check that if you haven't done that. That may be something to save you some bandwidth. Hey, John. All right. So I'll just switch to the video here real quick before I start the presentation. So just heads up, Jamie, I know you weren't looking at the screen, but you're on camera now. You can turn it off if you want, but no worries. Do you any other questions that you have? Hey, John.
Hey, great presentation. I learned quite a bit. And yeah, and you've got a huge number of resources on where to get images. That jump story was just a blessing to me, by the way, the website for that.
Yeah, I'm not going to go over that one today because it's not free, but I'm going to go over I'm going over free resources today. So we'll have a bunch of other ones I'm sure everybody's heard of for the image piece, but yeah, jump story is a good one. Obviously most of those, I think there's a little bit of a European or Eastern European, look to some of those images, just because that's, I think, where a lot of those people are at. But most of the images are generic enough that it really doesn't matter where those are based out of. So
yeah, man, the only bad thing that happened to me was I grabbed a image off the internet, like I guess 12, 13 years ago, and I get a letter from Getty Images.
Yeah. Oh, really?
$800. Their attorney was telling me that I needed to send them $2,800, and I had to be in court in their jurisdiction, which was in Washington or someplace like California. I mean,
if you didn't pay, or
pardon? If
you didn't pay,
because I used one of their images, and I really hadn't thought about it. I didn't mean to do it, but you can't excuses. But finally, then, after 4 or 5 letters from them, and I talked to them a few times, and I said, hey, I'll figure out a way to do that, or I'll talk to the attorney, make sure I want to pay that money. I said, I've already taken it off of the website, and they said, well, it doesn't matter. Once you've used it, and you need to pay us. And so then I actually got out of it, because I said, well, anyway, doesn't matter how I got out of it. But, man, they're tough. I was talking to a guy yesterday. He was like, oh, just go to Google and right-click on the image you want, go under.
Yeah.
I said, no. And he's like, well, yeah, but it's only for me and the people I'm sending it to and this, that, anything. And he's using it to make postcards and flyers and pictures on coffee cups and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, this is the kind of guy, he just won't listen. So I just let it go. All right. But, for somebody like that to have 100 images at $2,800 a piece, it adds up.
I'm going to add that on my copy on the website there, John. I'm going to say, save yourself $2,800 by buying this software, right?
There you go.
Because it's true. I mean, it doesn't, when there's other alternatives that are easier to use that are free or have those built-in pro images inside of the platform that you can just use for minimal amount. It doesn't pay not to use something like that has it built in. So
like the Getty images have like a tag embedded into the pictures that you can't get rid of.
I think I was so silly, Jamie, that I just saved the image and then it had the name of the image. You might even been computer guy 00397.
Don't use this image or we will sue you. GettyImages.jpg.
Right. That's right. So I'm sure that's what they were doing.
Wow.
They have a staff of people that I also talked to them, and they said, not only can we look it up that way, where we do a keyword search for any images that we have a staff of full-timers who are just going on the internet all day long, maybe Pacific Rim outsourced type thing, I don't know, but just looking for images that they recognize.
That's a good point. So let me ask you a question. What if one of your members uploads a photo and you don't check every single photo that your members upload? Are you responsible?
Ryan, that's up to you, buddy.
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer and do not do legal advice. That's a good question. I went over this with a client the other day, just for the terms of service and the the privacy policy that's already built into the BD site, and it is pretty extensive on there. I just don't know what it says on there. So I'm actually going to look up in the terms right now. I'm going to look for images and see what it says. So it says, you understand that all advertisements, postings, messages, text files, images, photos, video, sounds, or other materials, content posted on, transmitted through, or linked through the service are the sole responsibility of the person from whom such content originated. More specifically, you are entirely responsible for each individual item of content that you post, email or otherwise, made available via the service. So, blah, 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 blah. And it says, and then in related to, it says that they license you to use the images, including their logo, products, installation photos, for display on the website and other affiliated sites, including websites, social media, picture hosting websites, and any other websites at your sole discretion if you believe it will provide beneficial exposure for your website. So it is in there that you can use their stuff to advertise on your behalf since they're adding it to your directory.
That's good. Yeah, it's funny. I had one of our associations emailed us a bunch of Getty photos, and they wanted us to use them in a marketing campaign because we're in the event industry and we're trying to get, the government to understand that we're not open. And I'm like, oh, I got all these Getty images. I'm like, shit, maybe I can use them. And then out here in this, I'm like, I ain't gonna touch those Getty images. They're probably embedded with some kind of tag.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can embed and stuff nowadays too. I mean, they've got, with all those pixel link tracking stuff, you can actually retarget with people based on images. You can actually pull up the inside of videos. You can pull up like direct links to products and stuff just by posting, putting something in the code of the video stream for the product and stuff. So
right.
Yeah, and especially a lot of those images too have embedded, and actually I'll go over that today, have embedded animation and stuff in there. So it's kind of like coding inside of the actual image itself, So, and that's why it's pretty dangerous. Like even for opening up for websites, because you can stick code anywhere, right? Or some of those things, and that's how some of those viruses even get in, by you pulling images in email. That's why they stopped. If you guys noticed, at least it does on mine. It probably does on yours, where it stops loading the images in the email unless you recognize that as a non-spamming source. Because if you're just downloading the images in an email, it could stick some nefarious code in there. So mine blocks most of the images off emails now unless I click a button to explicitly ask it to download.
Hey, Ryan, quick question here.
Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
On the terms and agreements or conditions, we can add text to that, right? Or is that an editable document?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just in your web pages. And,
yeah. Well,
yeah,
I would say my point being is I looked at it fairly closely at one point. I haven't looked on that specific topic, but I did kind of drill down on those terms because we had some people asking, are you going to share our email address or, that kind of thing. And it gives you the right to do all that, and that's what they check the box on. So if it's not already in
terms of use, just hit edit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if it's not already in there, I would definitely add, a couple of lines about basically not only is it your responsibility, but you have to pay all the legal fees if anything arises, because that's the $2,800 or the $68,000 question or whatever, because they may say they had the rights, but when Getty or somebody goes after, your BD site, it was housed on your site, right? So the person has to agree. Not only do they claim, so to speak, that they own it, but does it say that if there is a case arises, that they are responsible for all the legal, any fees involved in that. With that, you should be covered.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go over the legal stuff here. It says we don't guarantee the quality, safety, or legality of any content. Oops.
That's a good point.
Any illegal service or sale of items is prohibited. Says because damages are often difficult to quantify, if it becomes necessary for us to pursue legal action, you will be liable to pay us the following amounts as liquidated damages. So there is some monetary stuff there if we have to go forward and do anything. So yeah, there is,
because Getty will sue everybody, and then you'll have to deal with it.
Yeah, one resource, I think he's actually a member on our site as well, but this came up similar, but to regarding audio, who owns the rights to audio, which is very similar to photos. It's any kind of copyrighted content or representation. And this guy Gordon, he was on the podcast, the Global event last week or so as an attorney, and he's actually a member on our site. But meanwhile, he was saying that there's a lot of questions coming up about if you're creating your own content on your site, but if I invite Ryan to come on my podcast, or John or Jamie or whoever, is like, and if I don't have you sign a release stating that I now, not say own the content, but in essence, you kind of do, you release that conversation, because later it could be, we repurpose it across 30 some odd platforms and ends up on Spotify or SoundCloud or Spreaker or iTunes.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, John says a year later, "Hey, that was my proprietary content. I never signed off on that." So I'm, so he's taken a very proactive approach to it, and he has a one pager that basically becomes a digital. You can send, a paper copy, but we do a digital. Now we've included that actually in our booking form. So when you, which we've always had a, Calendly or booking schedule once or some type of booking Calendly system. Right. So Ryan, you want to be on the podcast? Great. Fill in this form. Tell us your name, your subjects, your talking points, all that good stuff. But then when you hit the checkbox, you're agreeing to those terms. Within those terms, you're really, you're allowing, you're not going to come after us, because of that conversation that you shared with us. So he could probably draft or add a couple of lines. I may reach out to him to add those couple of lines of text.
Well, I mean, I'm just glad that they have that baseline terms of service. That is pretty, because that, how much that would cost everybody to have to start from scratch on their own for direct stuff. At least they went through with it's probably a California lawyer that drew that up initially for them. I mean, it's a great at least launching port to cover most everybody's just kind of casually doing that from forgetting most of the big stuff. But
I just had an aha moment based on what you just said. Is one, when I first discovered that, because it just appears in my footer, and all of a sudden when that question came up about, are you going to sell our email? And we said, in an email exchange, we said, that's not our plan. But then I thought, wait a minute, what if we do share it somehow, like, a newsletter, share list or whatever, or somebody hacks our thing. So we're covered. And I thought, wow, that's an impressive document that they spent a lot of money creating that. That's an amazing tool that we have. Toolbox. The point is, we could actually probably just hit BD support and ask them, hey, could you all include a line, or do that on the Wednesday webinar, include a line about this conversation about not only are you making, you're claiming that you own this photo or this image, but you're actually have their attorneys write it for everybody, make sure that line of text in there is covered, that if there is any legal recourse, that member is responsible. And rather than us guessing at it, or me reaching out to Gordon, or, because you can write a line of text that sounds great, but it won't hold up in court, and also could end up working against you.
Go consult your own lawyer on that. I think something's come up on that before, and I think they kind of went as we put a template there. It may not be needed for you. I think it came up before because it's a U.S. based item. So I know a lot of times all the UK members a lot of times they're Australia or something. They have to totally rewrite it or get their own legal person to scrub it and not only change all the spellings of organization or, anything with an S to a Z or whatever, or a Z to an S, but just all the legal stuff for all those different countries, because they are different in terms of taxes and liabilities and rights and stuff like that. A lot different than the U.S. So I think it came up before on there, and they kind of just said that's kind of a template. If you need something specific, consult your own lawyer kind of thing. So it doesn't hurt to ask, but that's probably what they're going to say. We'll see. All right. Well, let me go ahead and get into the presentation for today. I'm going to try to share my screen here, and I've already got it on the PowerPoint. So I'm going to do this new this time. I'm actually sharing it from my PowerPoint device, uploading to the actual webinar service. Can you guys see the full screen there?
Guys, man, I hate to tell you this. I have to go. I have meetings every Thursday, but I appreciate your time, Ryan. I'll catch you.
All right, just got to watch the replay, John. We'll cut it down to the presentation, or you can just watch that later.
All right.
So, can everybody see my full screen then? So make sure that's going out. Kind of doing the presentation mode on here, so I want to make sure it's not just on my screen, but it's actually going through the channels. So today we're going to talk about image resources. I got on here just some of the topics we're going to gloss over today. Just free images, image compressors, image converter, and image software, resizing, image palette colors, Favicon or Favicon, buttons, icons, and logos. And what I'm going to go over for today is all of those items on the screen. And the thing I want to go over today, we kind of mentioned this as we started going. It's not going to be the actual. It's not going to be the actual paid services. I'm going to go over the free ones today. And the reason I'm just doing that is because there are a lot of paid options. I'm going to show you one today that I'm going to give a good discount on. I can do image graphics for your particular presentations or other uses for your website. But I'm just going to try to get as much resources out here as I can for you guys and doing some free resources. So this is really the only slide I'm going to go over, and then we'll dive deep into those actual services. This is a question that a lot of people ask themselves for the directory of their business as they're getting into is, why are professional images for your business so important? And I think we think that, we may know they're important. And after we look at maybe what we create sometimes or what we see on other websites, we know why they're important because they do a lot of different things for us. The first thing is a picture's worth 1,000 words. You've heard that before, and it's just common knowledge here. When you hear a picture is worth 1,000 words, it says a lot of stuff just by looking at it. And it's even more so in today's society where we're on a phone or we're looking at graphical things. We don't have a lot of time. If we can look at something, understand what it is or what it's portraying or what it's trying to tell, that's going to portray a lot of stuff of words to your particular a person that's either on your website or seeing stuff on your social media. And so it's probably even worth at least or more than 1,000 words nowadays because of that. And it basically enables you to show your clients and customers what you have to offer rather than tell them. And I think that's obvious. But they want to see things for themselves before making a decision on a purchase, whether it's your website or just seeing stuff on social media. And photos and videos are all the rage, whether it be Instagram stories or TikTok or just, Pinterest. Everything's images or video nowadays. And it's more valuable than ever to have some valuable, good-looking content that will entice people to look at your brand, think of you as a more important company, and then obviously get to your directory and make some conversions there. So it's worth 1,000 words. And it's important in today's society. And number two is that your media represents your brand. So those photos that you post online or that you post on your website or make for your particular brand, it represents who you are. And obviously low quality or unprofessional photos or videos or graphics that you do for your website, communicate that same thing about your organization and products or services that you offer. So if it looks like low quality items, they're going to expect low quality services or products from you, and it makes sense. It's just how the mental knowledge of you and what they think of you just works. Your photos and they're on your website are obviously hugely important when it comes to make that first impression to somebody. So when they see that first thing for you and your customers, they see something impressive. And so you do not want to skimp on those or make them look terrible. Or, I mean, in more important circumstances, don't waste your time as well. So you're trying to make something that you could easily do in a different way. The third thing is that customers want to get to know you. So those high quality photos that are replicating your brand, and if you're using services that are making it easy for you to do that vice somebody in a different country, it allows you to add that personality and touch to your images that people know it's from your company. You'll be able to get your own brand, your own particular look that gets portrayed. I just think of BD, on all their videos that they come out with. All the images are different, but they kind of have that look, right, to the video. You kind of know it's their video content or their post because it kind of has that look. And that's what you want to do, is that you want to get that particular process down and be able to put your brand and stamp on those images, and just by having some easy to use stuff that allows you to do that. And the fourth thing is that images can help you get found on the web. I mean, obviously, everybody here has a website. They got a directory, at least, or additional directories or other websites that are kind of in the web sphere. So search engine optimization, obviously, that looks at, optimizing various images of the website. We talked about compressing a little bit earlier, but if you make the images so they download fast, if they actually have the proper naming elements in there, and it looks good on the internet and people are tagging them or adding them to Pinterest, if they look good, you have the opportunity to have those optimized photos get you found on the image results on Google Images better because they're getting tagged or added more, and then they just perform better in the search results overall. And they can help you engage and keep customers on your site for longer as well. And so if there's a lot of content that looks good on your website, they're going to stay longer. And then Google knows that because they don't bounce right away and they stay on your website, that they found something of use on there. And again, that'll help your search engine optimization as well. So it can get you found on the web a little bit easier. The fifth thing is those professional photos are versatile assets. So when it comes to marketing your business online, content is king, and I think we've all heard that phrase as well. But that's been the case for a while now. But it definitely holds true for images. Is that they're pieces of content, right? They're powerful, they're versatile, and they don't necessarily age either. I mean, some of them do, right? But think about that when you're making them as well. You can make it look good, and you may want something very specific. But if you have a system or you have a resource where you can have a template or be able to save an image and just change something on there, you don't have to start from scratch necessarily. And that's where templates come in. And we'll show you the software today that allows you to do that. But sometimes if it's more generic and it's just a good looking image, you can use that later. You can repost it on your social media at a later time. You can roll that into your random postings and you can reuse that, or you can post it on your website, or you can add it as part of an ebook. And so it's very versatile, and it's just basically another one of professional looking asset that you have in your arsenal to use for any of those brochures, promotion materials, cards, anything you think of, you can use that as an asset on there. So if you spend some time to make some of those things look good, you can use them for all of those different uses. And then the last thing is that professional imagery helps you to convert leads. And so when you have a more satisfying user experience with that visual information that portrays either your pricing or a sale or what you're about or what you offer, and they get engaged on that, they're going to spend more time on your website. They're going to be more engaged, and when they're doing that, when they're on more sites of your page, or if they stay on there longer, maybe they get the chat request. Maybe they get the pop-up for the lead magnet. Maybe they actually read some of the stuff in the blog from a link that was in, that the image kind of grabbed their attention, and they get some of your messaging across to them. Just inherently, if you have better images, you're going to convert those leads a little bit better because they're just listening to your message that much longer. So just 6 things there to think about. If anybody's been blowing off the images or don't think it's too much time, I'm going to show you some links and some other stuff that you can do today that can easily do stuff that even if you don't have software, you don't think you have the time, you can do some of the stuff on your own, and then obviously not have to pay for it and save yourself some money as well. So anybody have any general thoughts or questions on that, or any other I guess any other stuff that's been a showstopper for them on images, or any other things that's been daunting to them as they were doing images for directory or social media or anything else like that? All right, so I'll continue with the presentation here. So one of the first things I want to go over is just the free images, and I'll push this on the website, the Directory Toolkit as well. So don't feel like you have to write any of these down if you don't want to. Feel free to do that if you do want to scribble, but I will make this available to everybody on the site for the video afterwards. So here's just some free ones. I think John mentioned Jump Story the other just a little bit ago, but that one is a paid one. These are all free, and I'm gonna jump over to the website just to kind of show you what they look like and how good a content it is on all these. I'll just go to Unsplash is a pretty popular one. Pixabay also is a popular one. Let me get this set up here where see where it's opening to you. All right, well, let's open it up on here. So Pixabay, and these are all similar on these. They're all kind of free images. And again, just the way any of these free ones work, you just basically type anything that you're looking for into there. So we'll just do, and again, you may find different image focuses on different ones, that some of them are good. Some of them will be better. I'm just going to use a generic term of business on here. And it'll just pull up business images, and these are all royalty-free stock images, and you can use them in your particular presentations and download them, resize them, whatever you want. So here's a little, money stacking business thing. Here's like a business meeting, and again, all you have to do is just click on that and download the image. Scroll through, and it'll keep loading more and more images. You can kind of pick one that you like, and a lot of people don't like stock photography because it all looks the same. Obviously, if you have a camera, professional photographer, you can take your own images and do the same thing. Obviously, doing it yourself is just as cheap as free, but these are all on here ready for you to use. And all of these services are pretty similar in terms of that. The clean PNG, this one is an interesting one because what it does is it basically finds transparent art. So maybe you have a black background or something that you want to do an overlay on, and you just need something that is a transparent one with a transparent background. These are all, there's a coronavirus one if you want to stick that over top of an image and just drag that into one of these platforms. So these are all transparent images. So that's an interesting look for that one. That's unique to the clean PNG. And so these are just a couple other ones. These are all free, but again, those are free images for everybody to use. And so once you have the image, maybe you have your own image and you want to do some other types of items too there. So there's a bunch of image compressors, and we went over this before in another webinar probably 2 weeks ago. So I won't go into that much detail on here for these, but these are all just compressors that basically compress the size, keeps it the same image size, but just compresses the size of the file, not the size of the image. And then that just keeps it at the the same basically look where you can't really tell to the naked eye that it's different, but it basically can sometimes reduce it by 70% or more depending on if it's a compressed or non-compressed image when you started it. So I'll just use this as an example of the compress JPEG. All you would do is you'd upload a file. And if it's not compressed, actually, let me do the compressed PNG because I actually have one of these here in that folder. That's just a portable network graphic, but this has a different different file type than the JPEG. So I'm gonna pull up there. I'm gonna do that slide cover for today again. I'm gonna upload it, and then it basically uploads it and compresses it. And so now here it says it compressed at 68%, and then all you have to do is download it. And then now here is a that file is now downloaded. I have it available to me, and it is 68% smaller, but it looks exactly the same. It's the same dimensions as it was before. It's just 70% smaller. And so now when you're uploading those category images or any of those other slider images for your particular directory, then now you're using 70% less bandwidth than you would have been had you not compressed it. So all of these compressing softwares are pretty much similar, and they just decrease the JPEG or PNG depending on what it is or the capabilities of those. And some of these have a couple extra different functions in terms of resizing or adding some other stuff in there or resizing it when it does get done, but they're all pretty much the same.
Have you noticed any quality issues with it? Will it pixelate it? Or?
No. So usually web quality stuff is pretty good because JPEG compress really good anyway. Those portable network graphics, those are made for network stuff, and so not really. It's pretty not noticeable at all. The difference. I didn't set this up right. This is actually a redone one on this side that I originally didn't decompress here, but no, they're pretty good. And again, depending on the emulator or the image, if you see some, degradation or whatever, then just use a different service or something or different, format. We'll get to formatting here in a minute, but it's normally not recognizable. And in fact, what I'd normally recommend that you upload a little bit larger image, kind of like I was talking about with the category image, a little bit larger than you really need anyway. And then the BD system will naturally compress it down into that smaller, container. And so even if it was a little bit pixelated at the higher resolution, when it shrinks it back down, it's still using that lower resolution image as a whole, but it looks the same once it's compressed just a little bit, So rarely does it affect that. That's kind of what these are set up to do. It's like a lossless compression is what it is. So if you ever hear that term, a lossless compression, it basically means you're not losing any of the quality of the image. Some of the other ones, like I think the GIF and some of the older bitmaps do not compress well. So if it's a bitmap, that's kind of an older format. Those don't compress very well. So then we have, now you can compress, but let's say you have an image in a particular file version and you want to get it to a different file version. There's a ton of these on the internet. I'm just offering this one up because this one's worked flawlessly and literally has 200 different formats that it converts between. And they say it's a Swiss Army knife for file conversions, and it truly is. Basically any audio, video, document, ebook, archive, image, spreadsheet, presentation, you name it. They've got 200 formats that they convert, and I'll just kind of show you how that works and how easy it is. Now they offer it's free for, I forget what the pricing is. They have like an API on there, but they offer, I think it's like 25 conversions a day. So again, how many of you guys are converting 25 files a day? It's basically free as far as I'm concerned in terms of doing this. This is basically how it works. So all you do is select a file. You can do it for URL, Google Drive, Dropbox, or your OneDrive. So it's kind of got some good integrations there. But let's say I just want to convert that. I'll just keep using that same image. That's a PNG file. And then I basically just say I want to convert it to a document. You can convert it to a PDF. Now, it doesn't convert every one to every 200. It kind of picks what you're trying to convert, and it has certain things that it can convert to. But you can do a PSD file, a TIFF, a web platform, Photoshop, you name it. It can convert it, EPS for any other kind of high res stuff. So let's say I wanted that PNG to a JPEG, for example. Then you can also have a couple options here. You can change the output width and height. So say you want to convert it and automatically convert it to a certain height and width. You can do that, have it fit max or crop it or scale it, strip any Exif data. So this actually here you go. This is what you want to stick your Getty images through, right? It'll actually strip the metadata, Exif data that's embedded in the file out of the image, and then you can change the JPEG quality as well. So usually you put it at 100. That's kind of the lossless, best quality but least compression, and you can change that as well, or you can just let it go with the defaults, and then you just hit convert, and looks like I was demoing earlier today, so it looks like I used my my limit of messing stuff up. Today, so I guess it's 25 images or 10 conversion minutes. I was trying to convert a big file earlier, so I probably went over. Anyway, the bottom line is it literally just converts that image on there instantly, and then it just pops up on the screen. You hit download, and then it's in your pocket for that file, and it's ready to go. But it works great. So Cloud Convert.
Have you noticed any issues uploading the WPEG files, the web files? Because I
would always convert it from that. Yeah, because it.
When I first uploaded a couple of those files, I didn't realize that they were, I copied and paste, download them from the internet and try to upload them into the back end, and it wouldn't read it.
Yeah, it doesn't read it. It only, I think they're set up to read just JPEG and PNG and bitmap, I think.
Oh, it's not? Okay. I thought I saw a message that they're now it allows you to read them, but maybe not.
Oh, maybe, but they never used to be. Used to be those three. But again, so you could come in here, you could convert that.
To a different.
Yeah, to a different. You just pick that one and convert it to another one. But you can kind of see on here how they have all the archive files, all the audio files, CAD files, ebook. You can change an EPUB to a MOBI, changes fonts and images, presentation files, spreadsheets.
A lot easier than Photoshop.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm throwing this out here today, is because a lot of times people don't have Photoshop, or they don't want to pay and they don't want to learn like an 80-hour class on how to use Adobe Illustrator or something. Like there's so many things out here that do it for free. They just do one thing really good, but just use these are the tools I use all the time. I don't have Photoshop. I don't have Macromedia. I don't have any Adobe stuff. I don't have any of that stuff, because these just all do it for free and do it fast. So that's Cloud Convert for converting files. Now, let's say you want to resize the image. Let's say it's too big. I just kind of showed you that converter does that as well when it converts it. But let's say you just want to resize the image. So that's simple imagery. It's just simpleimageriesizer.com. And then it does what it says, simple image resizer. Let's say that's the size. You can either do a percentage. You want it 50% smaller, or let's say you want it 500 pixels wide. It uploads the image, automatically resized it, and then that's it. You just download the new file, and then there it is. There's my resized, compressed little image, 500 pixels wide. It's now ready to right click, save as, and download. So simpleimageriesizer.com works great. It's fast and just instant download, and really no issues on that at all. The other item that I like to do here is Sprout Social. And the reason I like this one, it's kind of let's see, what was that, landscape? So that one resizes images to whatever you want. This one, it's sproutsocial.com/landscape. And what it does is it's basically a free social media image resizer. So let's say that I'm uploading that slide and I want to resize it for Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever the social media thing is, it'll resize that to fit any particular social model you want. Let's say I now want that as Instagram, and I want that as and it'll tell you which ones it can or can't do based on the size compatibility, just because it doesn't fit that kind of, I guess, size dimensions. It's not square. It doesn't want to truncate it. But that's big enough. I can actually do my landscape video for Instagram. And then, again, we're back on this image sizing thing. So that it kind of just overlays that on there of what it'll fit it in there. And I kind of get it as close as I can. And that looks good. And then you just download. And now it's automatically set up for that particular Instagram size resources with that social media platform, and is just ready to go. And now you can go upload that on Instagram. So it kind of does it's kind of the poor man's. It doesn't do them all automatically, but it does allow you to to resize it per social media land, whatever session you want to do. So that's Sprout Social. So those are the two image resizers I use. And again, there's lots more on the internet that do those. Those are just a couple. So let's say you don't want to resize it. You don't want to, compress it. You just want to literally just change. You saw that, and these are all kind of iterative, right? That last one had a cropping function, right? Once you set the dimensions for that Instagram or whatever. This one just allows you to crop the image right away. And you can do JPEG, PNG, or GIF on these. And so it's just I love image. I love image. I love img.com and then /crop-image. And then literally all you do is you select the image. Again, I'm going to use the same one again. And then now it just kind of does what the other one did, only I'm not changing it for certain service. I'm just doing a crop option. So now you just change it on the side. Let's say you want 500 by 200, and it'll automatically kind of resize that, and you can kind of see what you want. Let's say, no, that's not what I want. I want a 500 by 300. I want a 600 by 200 because it was a little bit wider. So you guys get the idea. So now you kind of set your dimensions, you move it over there, and then you literally just hit crop image. It does the little cropping, and then you download the image after it crops it. So I love image, cropper, and then that just, it's just a good visual depiction of that. You can kind of see what you're doing on screen and then just crop it. One of the other ways, if you have PowerPoint or something like that, you can also crop it in PowerPoint and then just right click and save as image in PowerPoint. That usually works as well if you guys have that, but this is a good online version. So now let's say you have the image, you got it all cropped. Now you're just going to use that in a social media platform, but you want to, you don't have the color sets. You want to kind of figure out what color you want to use for that that image. Sorry. So this will be CSS Drive /image palette. And what this allows you to do is you basically pick the file, and then by picking the file and hitting Get Palette, it'll upload the image. And it'll kind of pick some of the colors off from there that are in that image, and then just allow you to pick the hex code off from there. And now it looks like it doesn't get all of them because it's probably starting at the top of the image. Let me just use this one as an example as well. There we go. It's a little better version. But so I have this Crello image here, and so now it has different, light color palette, medium color, dark color, and these are kind of, I guess, colors that match would go well with what the images are in here. And then it also has the complete color palette of the image itself. So let's say that's the yellow. Now I know that's FFC000. That's the hex code for that particular exact color. That's the green, and they kind of store some in there for the last color. So now if I'm doing a presentation or a image thing somewhere else and I want to know the color, it kind of gives me the color palette for any particular image. So I found that tool to be really useful. Next thing is Favicon or image icons. Basically, this is the little image that's at the top of your web browser. So you notice this has a little bit of a leaf here. My Hudsonville one has the little bullseye out of the O from my Hudsonville. You notice mine, my toolkit thing just has a little, actually a little image box there, like tools. So that's what that is. And it also, there actually is thumbnails that'll download for your touch icon for your Apple iOS or your Android, that little, big icon, you can set that up. So if you go to my directorytoolkit.com and you add that to your desktop or your favorites on your phone, it's actually going to put a little toolkit on there instead of the Favicon. It's going to be a high-res Apple icon of the toolkit. So this website actually does the generation for you. And it's called realfavicongenerator.net. And what it basically does is you pick an image. It has to be at least 70 by 70. And normally you would pick an image that is square. So let me just pick my toolkit one as an example, that toolkit one I just demoed.
It's also better to use a transparent one as well.
Yeah, it is, unless you don't want it to be transparent. I'll show you. There may be a good reason you don't want it to be transparent, because sometimes those do hide into the background. If you do, because it obviously if it's transparent, any of the background shows through, and it may hide part of your icon or make it obscured potentially. But it recommends 260 by 260 on there. But it's a minimum of 7070. And the reason for the 260 by 260 is because when you get the actual icons that are, or for the high-res screens, like on the iPhone or Samsung or something, sometimes the 260 by 260 is not as pixelated because that's the highest resolution it goes. But it demos it on here. That's what it looks like. Would look like on my toolkit site. There's my high-res Favicon for iOS. And the Android, you actually has Windows for those 5 people that have a Windows phone. And you can change around the different items here. You can change that. So you can add margins, so if you want it a little bit smaller there, it kind of tweaks the image around there. You can actually do a drop shadow with a color if you wanted. I don't know what that whole background.
I gotta go.
All right. Sounds good.
See you next week.
Yep. And we'll post the full video again on directorytoolkit.com or directoryvideos.com for anybody that needs to drop off. So now this does it for the Mac OS Safari as well. Anyway, you get all this stuff done. You hit generate your Favicons in HTML code, and then it'll actually make a downloadable file that you can add all of those files to your Brilliant Directories website. And you're going to want to add that to the baseline, the top level folder in the cPanel file folder that we went over earlier, and just drag and drop all of these files in there that are in this zip package. And then this code right here, you simply copy and paste that into the header of your Brilliant Directories site. And then when you do that, it adds all the code that you need in there for the Apple Touch icon and Android and everything else. And so when somebody when you upload those files and that code is installed in your directory, it'll install all those images for your system and kind of make it more mobile friendly for saving the actual directory. The next topic is buttons. And so this is the Buttonoptimizer.com. And what this does is it just creates buttons that you can totally morph to your colors, your wording, drop shadow, font type, and an icon for your particular directory. So I think this is kind of self-explanatory here, but whatever you change on the settings here, it just has the button here, and then you can download the actual picture, or you can get the actual CSS code that renders that, so you can go in and change the color and any of the stuff later just by editing the CSS code. And again, that's just copy and paste into your BD site wherever you want that button. So those work good if you don't like the standard Bootstrap button code. Next topic is icons. And so the icons are basically some different free icons on here. Here's just a couple COVID packages. I think this is from the Icon Finder. But they're just people that develop and upload icon sets that are free. So it's sometimes if you have a particular niche site, or you have something that you want to provide to your audience, a particular icon you're looking for, some of these are free resources that you can use and then use those on your site instead of paying for icon sites. Again, there's tons of icon sites that are out there for paid uses, but these are some free resources that you can get additional icons for your website. Hey, Scott, welcome.
Howdy.
So you missed part of the presentation here. This will be on the replay. We're just going through some free resources here, and we're on logos. So obviously, everybody needs the logo developer or logo for their website, for their BD directory. It does have a pretty good setup in there automatically for you on your website. I'll show you guys where that's at real quick. If you go into the settings and design settings for your particular website, you can either upload an image, or you can kind of do a multi-combo of text and a image inside the website. So if you do not upload an image, it's going to default to the logo design here in the design settings tab. And it'll just have whatever icon you pick here for the font awesome icon, and then the text and slogan that you have. And so the one I actually have for the Brilliant Directories one, I just have it as a demo here using the baseline stuff that's available inside of the resource kit. And so that's what that looks like. But if you actually upload an image, and this is in general settings for the image settings and brand images, if you upload a website logo, which I have not, obviously, because I still have this one, if you upload a website logo here, it'll automatically just replace that you have in there. So just be aware that if you upload a website logo, it is going to automatically replace that. I have had some people that actually just want to change out the image icon, like it's a round icon, but they still want to leave the text. That will take some customization to do that, but we can do that for you if you want. But that's very few people do that. They just kind of either do that or the image. But that's where that's at. But sometimes if you do want to add an image or a logo, sometimes you don't have one, or you don't want to pay somebody to do that. So here's some free resources where you can either go find a logo or design a logo for yourself. So the first two ones on here are if you're looking for a logo for somebody else. This is where you would go. World Vector Logo or seekvectorlogo.com. And basically what that does is they have a stockpile of ready logos to use for major companies, mid-level companies. If you're looking for an official logo for somebody, all of those are in there in vector format at those two locations. So I've used that a couple times to go grab some official logos for something if you need to use it for a particular presentation or use. And it just makes it easier to find than just searching on Google. So those are a couple things. But if you want to make a logo for yourself, freelogodesign.org and looka.com are a couple of examples. So let me just go to looka.com here to just kind of show you what that can do. And there's a bunch of other ones on the web that do that. But we'll use we'll do business directory. Let's say that's my business name. You want to get started, and it kind of walks you through steps of onboarding, basically, on what you want to do. So what is it? Let's say it's a directory. I don't even know if they have a category for that, but we'll try that. Then it picks actual logos that you like. So let's say I like that one, and it kind of just gets formats of logos that you like, so that doesn't give you something that you don't. So there's my 5, and then let's go with my colors, blue, red, and teal. And then you can do your actual company name. So again, my company name is Business Directory. And then it's basically telling you to pick a shorter business name. It's just saying, obviously, on logos, the more type you have, the harder it is to look. And let's say a slogan. Let's say get in business or something. That'll be my slogan. It's a terrible one, but we'll use it. And then you can pick different symbols. So you can search for symbols. Let's say suitcase, because I was using that for mine. And then you can just pick a couple different logo sets that you like to kind of give them a general idea to start doing some logos. You can pick a bunch of those, and then you just hit explore, and then it just kind of does a combination of the colors, the icon, the actual text you put in there, and then your slogan. And now you can kind of go through here and see. I mean, these aren't too Gucci of logos, but you can kind of start refining something that you want. Let's say choose a guest here. Let's say that's a little bit closer. And so let's say you want to start with that. Now it kind of opens it up, and now you can kind of tweak and look at different variations, knowing that that's fairly close. And then you can kind of tweak other options. So let's say I don't like that text. When you click on any particular item of that, it'll just change that particular aspect of the logo. And then you can kind of scroll through different options. And long story short, as soon as you go through all those and you kind of tweak all that stuff, lo and behold, pretty soon you have a fairly decent looking logo that you got that you can download for free, or you can obviously upgrade and get merch from them as well. But just some an interesting software if you want to create a logo on your own. So again, that was looka.com. So long story short, obviously, those are all the different services you can do. We kind of talked about why good looking images are important for your brand. And so just thinking about all the different things that you can do for your particular business or have to do every day, just think about all these different things. You probably have to create these images all the time or have somebody else create them for you. So if you're doing any type of social media or stories on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you need images in order to put on there to make it look good. If you're doing any other type of covers or headers for those social medias, if you're sending out email newsletters and you want an image at the top of your newsletter, if you're doing blogs or you're putting stuff inside of your brilliant directories and you want an actual blog header with an image that looks good, you're going to be needing to use images. If you're doing any online advertising, or if you have any clients that want to do any online advertising on your directory so you can charge them money and they don't know how to do that, you're going to have to create ads either yourself or for them in certain sizes, whether it be skyscraper, rectangular, or for particular social media. So those need to get made. Sometimes it's just marketing stuff that you need generally for your business. We already talked about the logo. You need to design a logo. You need to make a business card or have a business card made. Maybe you have flyers that you're trying to advertise something locally. Maybe you're doing gift certificates for your site. Maybe you want to do an infographic for a story. Maybe you're trying to do a design for a t-shirt, coupon, labels, presentations. Let's say you're doing a pitch deck and you got to do a presentation for a background. Poster, maybe you're printing a poster for a local business or hanging it up somewhere. So these things come up all the time for marketing in your business. And then, of course, everybody, probably has stuff that they want to do for the director or advertiser to use, like ebooks, creating images that are ready to go for a lead magnet that you do for an ebook. Maybe you're printing up a certificate for a training and you want to display that. Maybe you're sending out invitations for an in-person event if we ever get back to those, right? Letterhead for your business or a proposal that you're sending out to get somebody to sign up, a brochure. Or even your own resume because, you're trying to still get a job and the directory thing is not full-time for you. So just think about that. You're always doing these images. And so we kind of talked about some of the stuff where you can get the images, kind of resize them and recapture. You want to be able to have a software program as well that can make all that stuff for you. And then the last category here is video, and that's becoming a larger proportion of things on the internet as well. High scale video for Facebook or Twitter or your Instagram video stories, TikTok or anything else like that, or even videos inside of social media are big items now as well. And so, do you have something that can do that for you? So. In just a second here, I'm going to go over Crello. It's basically an online image software that you can do all of those things that we just mentioned, and is one that I use and something I recommend that everybody else use as well if they can. Does anybody have any questions? I know Scott, you just jumped in there. Any image questions? We're not gonna talk Facebook images today. I kind of went over some of that. For some of the other peeps earlier, but any, I guess, image stuff, since you're kind of an image guy as well, that you've come across or other tools or stumbling blocks or why you think it's important for images for the directories and stuff?
Only that images are clicked on a heck of a lot more than text graphics on Facebook. So if you want people to engage your content, you need images, period. End of story. engaging images.
Right. And so, and we talked about that earlier, Scott, I think that was before you were on there, about having the images look good, right? You don't want them to be, if they're not high quality professional images, just because so many of the other images are, they're just going to skip right over yours, or even worse, make a mental note that they never want to click on yours again because they know how bad that looked, and think that that quality reflects on probably the content behind the click as well. If the image does not look good, they don't even want to go to your site. So,
yep, and make it relevant to your content.
Yeah, and that kind of comes down to the the image stuff as well, in terms of the quality or the number of templates, right? The quality and number of graphics that are available to make it specific, relevant, and high quality for the particular message that you were trying to do.
Yep. Good point.
So, good. Okay. So what I'm going to go over today, then, I'm going to go over the Crello system real quick and kind of show you that, and just kind of do a live demo as well, and then answer any other questions that you guys have if it's come up for your directories as well. So what Crello basically is it's an online platform that allows you to do basically what other sources do on the back end, like Adobe Illustrator, some other Photoshop kind of stuff, but it allows you to do it online. It's all a web-based editing thing that does basically one-click editing tools to edit the text size, resize, photo effects, crop, fade, contrast, you name it. You can do everything online. And all you basically have to do, and here's the kind of laundry list of what you do here. You just pick a format, you pick a template, you pick your images, you add your design elements, you can add animations, your own videos, and obviously either pick any of theirs or upload any of your own, and then share or download when you're done. And it's all done online, not instantly, but fairly fast, where you don't have to have any extreme design knowledge, or you don't have to outsource it to other people in order to get to a professional looking format. And so Crello has multiple formats. You can basically choose one of over 50 formats. And we kind of talked about this with Scott the other day. There's certain dimensions for every particular item, and they're all different. Sometimes people don't realize that the Facebook cover photo has a different thing than the YouTube, than Instagram, and they're all different. But this all have the formats baked in here. You don't even have to know what it is. You just pick a format, and it auto resizes for each one. And there's over 50 different formats for these particular things. And so here's just some examples that we kind of went over earlier. These are all of the different formats that are in the actual Crello system. And so whichever one you pick is just readily available. So posts and stories, the covers and headers, the ads, the marketing, the documents and letters, all of those things that we went over earlier are all in Crello as a one-click auto start for picking those things. And so as an example, here's just an Instagram, making an engaging Instagram stories. All you have to do is choose the format. You click the Instagram video stories. It's already set up at the proper dimensions. Right now, it's 1080 by 1920. Obviously, if that template changes, they update those for the current templates. And then you just pick a template. Once you pick the size, you pick the template that you like as a baseline format, and then everything in there is totally editable. You customize the background, the animation, the text, elements, colors, the overlays. You can add, subtract. But at least you're starting out from a 70% solution just by 2 clicks of the button, and then you're off to the races after you. Again, you don't have to do that much modification if it's a good template and it kind of matches what Scott mentioned earlier about having the right template. You can just immediately change the text to your percentage off on this example here. 50% off, change the link, maybe the text a little bit, and then download, and it's that simple. And also you can do other items like professional certificates. This one's fairly new, but obviously, say you want to grant an employee the best of the month club certificate, or let's say you have some training and you want to provide everybody with a professional looking certificate with your company logo on there. They have hundreds of certificates that you can use, and that's fairly new. But what Crello does well is it basically has all of those templates already built in. So they have over 25,000. That's right, 25,000 templates that are set up on there for major social media, blogging, and other marketing formats that kind of already have images and photos, videos, and animations built in that you can just get close to what you want and then tweak from there. And it just cuts down probably literally by 80% the time it takes for you to make a good looking graphic and to execute something that you want to post to social media or on your website. And so they do have some free templates on there that you can use just by using the tool for free. And they're labeled as free, and they're a little bit more basic and not as advanced. But then they also do have the pro templates that have better images, more, I guess, highly defined segments on there that have animation and video and just are built in to look great. And those are available on the pro version only. That is a paid service, but I do have a good a deal for one person today if they do want to buy that Crello at a reduced rate. And so the other thing Crello allows you to do, it allows you to create materials for print. So whether it be posters or infographics, like a lot larger images, it allows you to do those as well. And it's set up to do that. And not only is it set up for that, that size of imagery, but they also now have it set up for printables as well. So if you're doing a designing with a that needs like a certain bleed size, or any other PDF product there with crop and bleed tick marks and stuff like that for actual professional printing, it also has those workspace settings for those bleed and trim stuff as well. So most of the other ones do not have. Is again kind of makes it a universal platform. So once you have that template, now you're going to start overlaying or changing out stuff that you want out of their media library. And so basically they have, like I said, 25,000 templates, but they have over 500,000 photos and premium stuff that you can add to it. So that have like transparencies to it and overlays. So you notice here, that female that's on here, it's just basically an overlay. So if you like the color, you can swap out the person, put a different object on there. And there's over 500,000 images that they have in the system that you can use. And then the other thing that it has, and I thought this was working earlier, but unfortunately, maybe we can see this on the live version when I do the walkthrough. It also has animations in there. So you have over, I think, 25,000 different animation objects, whether it be images, video, or animations on there that basically you can add to the actual image and kind of create a dynamic animated thing that grabs the attention of somebody on social media or on your website. That's just most of the other images programs do not have because it is very dynamic. And let me see if I can play the video here on how that looks. So you guys can hopefully that video went through there, but you can see how dynamic and pretty cool those animations look, depending on which ones you pick for your ad. If you saw that on the side, by some other static images, just how much better that would look for your presentation and your images. So for fonts, it also has different fonts. So there's over 250 different fonts you can pick and just dynamically add that again to kind of focus it on your particular niche or genre for your directory. And they have over 50 like total design elements that you can swap out on there, whether it be just the palette, the size, the format, the overlays, the opacity, you name it, you can edit. There's over 50 different edits on there. And so here's just a couple examples there. You can change the colors the transparency out of the color palettes. You can layer them, so it has the multi-variable layers, so you can kind of pull stuff back, push it to the top, or pull it forward, and change exactly where those things are located inside of your actual presentation or the actual image. And then it has the video. We kind of showed you that, but not only does it have the animations, but it has video. So when you're talking about doing ads or other stuff on social media now, you can have that video play as part of that ad, and you can upload your own video as well to customize it, or use the video again within that pro package. That just really make your presentations pop that much better. And those videos, I think they have over 50,000 different videos that you can add. And again, you can just search right there. It says 21,000 there, but I think they have 50,000 now. We just add in a type of video you want, and then you can drag and drop it on there. And it's as simple as, again, just searching for that. Choose the format, add in the video, and then again, you can add other overlays, text, other images, other video on the video. You can kind of do a picture-in-picture if you want, different items, play 2 videos at a time. Basically drag and drop all those different layers on there, just like the other portion we showed earlier. And then finally, you can download or share those, so you can instantly share it to Facebook from the system. You can share a link or embed the actual photo inside of your website or your other platforms, and then you can share a design with other people, and then you can actually send it directly to Facebook Ads Manager as well, and you can use that design for any advertising that you're actually doing directly in Facebook right within the platform. And then finally, they do have a mobile app as well, both on Android and the Apple iStore, or Apple, App Store. Sorry, not iStore, App Store. And I'll be honest, normally I'm not too enthused on mobile apps, but literally you can do everything that you're doing on the website on the app. And so it's almost like a good time saver, because I've made social media post pictures with content from my phone or the web, or just designing it straight from the Crello service, just using the app on my phone. And literally it's just as easy on the phone to develop this image as it is on the actual desktop. They've done a really good job with this, and I don't normally harp apps, but this one actually works really good. And so you can kind of do that on the fly if you're waiting at the doctor's office, or in the car now for them to call you to come into the doctor's office. I think that's how they're all working now. You can spend your time designing some images for your website in your directory. Does anybody have any questions on that? There's a couple people had to drop off there, but any other questions on the actual service? So what I wanted to kind of go through. Oops. Start the presentation over here. Actually, you guys see my you see the desktop right now. So let me just go to. I'm just going to offer it up here. I do have. It's normally a $9.99 a month for the pro version of Crello, and I do have. If you go to my directorytoolkit.com, and there, just scroll down to you see the Crello image designer, and I do have this available. For the first person that can grab it. I do only have one copy of this, so it is limited. I have some people that have already grabbed it, so I'm down to one. If you guys are already watching the replay on this one and it's already grabbed, I will have a wait list on here for anybody who does drop off that have resold some of these. But it's normally at a $95.88 a year or $9.99 a month. I do have a spot available for $60 a year. It's basically $5 a month. For anybody who wants the pro version of that with all the images and everything unlocked for that. It is available for anybody today that wants to get that for $5 a month. I'm just selling it as a year package at $60. So any other questions? I guess I'll stop there with the image stuff. I know I talked a lot about image today, Crello. Just want to throw that offer out to everybody. And then I can answer any other website questions, generic stuff for your directory or images, or whatever you guys need with the rest of the time here for a few minutes. Scott, you got anything, or Mike, or anybody else still on the call?
I think you've answered all my questions over the millions of texts the last couple weeks. Thank you very much. Your resourcefulness is impeccable.
I'm all good with myself. Thank you.
Okay. So I guess Frank said he just woke up. It's 3:30. Must have had a good night last night. I'm not sure. So let me do a live demo here. I did not do any live demo here. I just want to kind of show you exactly how this works. Scott, do you want to see any particular thing? I'll make something for you real quick here.
You know what? My brain is half elsewhere, so I don't even know right now.
I'll make an Instagram post here. How about that?
Go for it.
All right, so that's it. I clicked the Instagram post. I am now getting loaded into my Instagram post. Let's see. Do you have a sale? What are we doing here? You want to, let's see, a launch?
We're charter memberships.
All right, let's see. Member. This is why you don't. In fact, these aren't images. These are probably just templates. It's probably not going to. These are all just templates of this specific looks, I guess.
That says Crello, but it looks a lot like Canva. Like all the icons on the left side of the screen are almost identical. Yeah,
it's very similar. So if anybody, I was going to kind of go over that. It's basically the same thing as Canva. This one's a little bit better. It has animations where Canva didn't. I think they started adding that in there. This one also has unlimited folders, so you can kind of you can make folders, and I think Crello Canva only has 2. And then I'll be honest, everything else is pretty much the same. I think Canva is a little bit more expensive overall as well if you get the Pro. So anyway, let's say you're doing a design. I'm just going to pick something here. Say free. Let's see if that has a template there. All right. So let's say there's a actually, let's do cars. Let's see what we got here for cars. So let's see, I don't have too many racing stuff here. Let's just do this one. It's kind of got a car. I'm just gonna, again, this isn't a great example. You could probably spend some more time and find something here. But let's say you wanted to have this. They're not getting in the stands now. They're getting on their car. This is where you have to watch the race from. But anyway, as you guys can see, it kind of overlays everything on here. And all you have to do is click on the particular aspect, and then you can change it. So let's say you wanted to flip it. You could flip it horizontally. You could change the transparency. Let's say you wanted a little bit more subdued. You can kind of make that a little bit more transparent to kind of highlight these items. Let's say you didn't want the birds. You could just click it and then delete it. So I'm getting rid of all the birds. Let's say you want to add some objects on there. Let's say some animation. And let's say I want to add an animated bird. I didn't like those other birds. So now we have a bird. And let's say we're going to say you want to do Twitter. That's what we're doing on there. So anyway, you want to pick the element, obviously, that works good for you, but you can kind of highlight that, and looks like that is now on there. And it's just literally drag and drop. You can change the resizing. On the layering, let's say you wanted to bring it forward or backwards. If you want to have it underneath something, you can kind of change the layering. And then you can duplicate objects just by clicking that. Let's say I needed two birds. Now we've got 2 birds on there. Just kind of overlay that on there, and they'll both be flapping their wings when we get done. And then it's just a matter if you want to change best offers to whatever your statement is. You just double click it, and then you can say get in the stands, and then you can highlight the text, change it over here. You can change the font. Let's say that you want the slab 1, and you want to change the color to purple. And you can change the transparency as well. You can also animate in here like we talked about before. So you can have that zoom in. See how that text zooms in? So we set that as a zoom in. And again, you can change all the stuff around, change all the different elements. Now those are set up to do all that animation. So when you're done, all you have to do is click download, and you can download it in the various formats. So PNG, download as a PDF, PDF print that kind of has that outer layer on it, and then transparent. Or if it's a animated GIF, you'll want to download it as that. And then since it also is a movie, you can download it as the actual MP4. And then it just takes a few minutes, it codes it, and then instantly downloads it, and then you're ready to go with that particular animated. So here's the little video. See how the little birds are flapping, that zoomed in. But again, you can have different layers. You can have them come in at different times. And again, if you're, depending on what animation you have on there, if you're uploading on there, you can have it that continuously animating. And then obviously it'll rotate through on your social media there for whatever particular, animation you have. But so that's already just in the 1080 by 1080 Instagram. So pretty easy, obviously, and then you can change text. It has all the different backgrounds. You can do objects too. So let's say you want to do a 50% off badge. You can these are all just drag and drop. Let's say you have a 50% off buy now. You can just drag and drop that right in there. It has a bunch of overlaid stuff together, so you can kind of change each individual element. But now that's on there, and let's say I can't see that, so I need to change it to a different color. You can kind of change the look or format of that, and then change the sizing. Oops, I didn't highlight everything there. I guess I have to reselect all that stuff. So anyway, you guys get the idea. It's all drag and drop there. You can kind of make whatever you want. And, the key there is any template that you pick, it just relays that all those template elements already in there, kind of ones that they've already redone. And then you can just pick or choose your niche, your genre, and then edit the text and or swap out the images. So let's say you liked that look, but you wanted to put an actual, race car image there, then you would just delete that image, and then you could upload another image and then resize it and put it right there. But everything else, the color scheme and all the other text, is kind of in the right spot for you.
Awesome.
All right. Well, that's all I've got for today. Again, I'll add those. We did a lot of stuff in the BD backend on the first half. We kind of went over some of the image free resources. That'll be another video that I'll upload, and then I'll upload the Crello review as well. And that, again, that is available for anybody who wants to grab that last one. And if you guys want to see the videos, again, it'll be on directoryvideos.com or directorytoolkit.com. You can watch the whole webinar for the replay or those individual sections if you missed it for today's stuff. And I hope to see you guys here next Thursday, 1:30, same time, same place, directorywebinar.com. Thanks for showing up, everybody.